It started like every other dawn shift, the soft Florida sun rising behind gas stations and palms, the kind of light that tricks you into thinking nothing bad can happen before breakfast. My partner and I rolled toward Maple Ridge Preserve, siren low out of courtesy for sleeping neighbors, me already running the cardiac arrest script in my head, oxygen and compressions, and all the little things that keep someone's world from ending. The road bent, the gate appeared, and instead of swinging open, it blinked at us like an eye deciding whether to close. We were 10 seconds from a dying woman, 100 feet from her pulse, and one blink from disaster. Before we move forward, comment down from where you're watching right now, city, country, and what time it is there, because you're about to see how a single petty rule can kill faster than a heart attack. The man planted behind the keypad wore a green uniform, the color of fake Christmas trees. Mercer on his tag, security stitched over his chest like a dare. His hand hovered near a yellow taser as if I were a threat instead of the paramedic who'd come to save his neighbor. He asked for an access code like we were Amazon packages. I showed my badge so close he could read the expiration date, pointed at the ambulance, the red cross the size of a beach towel, and told him, calm and professional, "Step aside. You're obstructing an emergency responder. That's a felony." He didn't move. Then the world snapped white, and my body dropped before my voice could. Beyond the iron gate, a woman gasped, a sound that still lives under my skin, and Maple Ridge's perfect landscaping swallowed my partner's shout. That was the moment HOA Karen's empire stopped being invisible. She thought her rules protected her. She had no idea they'd just written her downfall. I didn't start out looking for war. I'm Dr. Ava Kim, board-certified emergency physician, 15 years in trauma bays, former Army medic who learned in Iraq that hesitation kills. My credentials are stitched into the fabric of this county. I teach EMS drills, sit on the hospital disaster committee, and consult on state emergency access policy. In Maple Ridge, though, I was just the woman behind the siren. The one HOA Karen, age 52, president of the board, champion of tight security, had spent years warning her residents about. She'd built a kingdom out of bylaws, stone columns at the entrance, private guards with zero-tolerance perimeter, training from a cut-rate contractor called Aegis Sentinel, fines for grass height measured with rulers. Her smile at town hall meetings said community. Her closed-door emails said control. Most people bent because fighting her meant paper cuts until you bled. Me? I was trained to log every cut for evidence. When Mercer's taser stole 10 minutes from a dying woman named Evelyn Hart, I stopped being a guest in HOA Karen's fiefdom and started being her reckoning. Maple Ridge's power structure was pure HOA theater. Karen ran the board like a petty city-state. Donations to local campaigns, ribbon cuttings with councilmen, selective enforcement that let friends slide while hammering outsiders. Residents whispered about veterans fined for flagpoles an inch too high, single mothers threatened over yard toys, retirees ticketed for unapproved ornamentation. Every check paid to the board fattened the same circle of vendors. Landscaping by her brother-in-law, security by her cousin's LLC. On paper, it was safety culture. In reality, it was a net cast over anyone who didn't bow. She'd even pushed a new, non-lethal deterrence policy without county approval, crowing in a newsletter that Maple Ridge was setting the gold standard for perimeter hardening. No one thought to ask what would happen if the perimeter was between a medic and a patient, until Evelyn Hart's heart stopped ticking. I went from patient care to case building. First, the incident report. Times, vital signs, my own injuries photographed by a colleague. Then the 911 audio and dispatch logs. Then a records request for Maple Ridge security protocols. My military background taught me chain of custody. My legal contacts taught me which statute numbers to underline. Obstruction of emergency medical services, a felony, civil rights deprivation under color of authority. A whistleblower board member slid a manila envelope under my office door. The complete training addendum with a flowchart that listed Taser in all caps under deterrence options, and the signature of Philip Drake, Karen's vice president and legal co-signer, right at the bottom. Every page I scanned felt like loading a magazine. The more I read, the clearer it became. Mercer didn't go rogue. He executed HOA policy written and approved by Karen herself. Confrontation was inevitable. At the next board meeting, the clubhouse reeked of burnt coffee and fear. HOA Karen tried to control the room with her patented slow smile and let's be civil tone, calling Evelyn's death a tragic misunderstanding. I stood in the back, in scrubs, badge clipped to my pocket, and when homeowner comments opened, I walked forward and clicked a remote. The screen lit with 3 images. The ambulance at the gate, the guard's taser drawn, the timestamp 6:43 a.m. "We were 100 feet from your resident when your employee incapacitated me under a policy you approved," I said, voice steady. Murmurs swelled. Phones lifted. Karen snapped that I was grandstanding and that security is for everyone's safety. I opened the next slide. Her email to Aegis Sentinel after a DoorDash mix-up 2 months earlier. "We must harden our perimeter, no exceptions." Gasps hit like a wave. "You didn't harden the perimeter," I said. "You built a choke point." Someone in the crowd shouted, "She killed Evelyn." The live stream count spiked. Karen banged the gavel. She had no idea the gavel was already an exhibit. We escalated the fight where she couldn't bury it. Court. Paul Hart, Evelyn's widower, retained me as a witness, and Ava Kim, the attorney, as lead counsel. We filed wrongful death, negligence, obstruction, and civil rights claims for $5 million, or the number big enough to rattle the board's insurer. We sent preservation letters to lock down every email, every security video, every dispatch call. The DA opened a parallel criminal investigation for felony obstruction of an emergency responder. Federal agencies began sniffing around Aegis Sentinel's licensing. Meanwhile, Karen's machine started to wobble. Mercer, the guard, cooperated with investigators. The treasurer leaked real ledgers showing kickbacks and unauthorized purchases. Neighbors once cowed began taping "Justice for Evelyn" flyers to their mailboxes. Each new disclosure was another crack in Karen's marble facade. Total victory came not with fireworks but with paper ballots. The HOA board convened an emergency meeting. 200 residents showed up. People fined for chalk drawings, for rosebush gnomes, for flags an inch too high. We projected every key document on a screen. Karen's emails, the taser policy, Mercer's statement, Evelyn's photo. When votes were counted, Karen and Drake were removed from the board. State troopers served them with indictments for obstruction and negligent homicide. Aegis Sentinel's contract died before lunch. Maple Ridge rewrote its bylaws that night. No emergency responder shall ever be delayed, questioned, or blocked, ever. They refunded bogus fines. They hired a volunteer watch led by a retired nurse instead of a security contractor. Saturday mornings now host kindness meetings instead of Facebook flame wars over shrub height. Paul Hart started the Evelyn M. Hart Fund for Emergency Medical Studies. The first scholarship went to a kid who wrote, "Your wife's story made me want to be the medic who never hesitates." As for me, I accepted a medal I didn't want but needed, not for heroism, but as a reminder. Because habits don't plead guilty. They move unless you lock the door behind them and hang a sign that says, "Not here, not again." HOA Karen thought she'd built a fortress. What she built was evidence. We just held up the mirror. And now I'll ask you, if you were that guard, would you follow the manual or your eyes? If you sit on an HOA board, how do you balance safety with decency? How far up the chain should accountability climb? Drop your take in the comments. Argue it out. Tell me if we went too far or not far enough. Share this with the person in your group chat who loves a good policy as much as they love their people. Maybe that's how we keep gates from becoming cages. And if you've ever had to choose a human over a rule and it cost you or saved someone, I want to hear that too. We can't change what happened on Maple Ridge Drive, but we can make sure that next time the siren pulls up, the only thing that opens faster than the gate is somebody's heart.